Hi, my name is Sarah Levis, and I'm a member of the EDGE team, and this is this week's EDGEy Conversation. Thank you so much for joining us. Today we have, and I've forgotten to get pronunciation of last names, we have Nicole Bruder,
Bruder.
and Joanne
Stienstra.
From
Yeah.
St. David's United Church in Woodstock, here to tell us about an exciting ministry that they've developed with a grant from Embracing the Spirit, ministering to the needs of people who are facing death and dying in their community. So I'm just going to let you guys take it from here. Can you tell us a little bit about St. David's before we get into this?
St. David's United Church has been in our community for many, many years. I was fortunate enough to be hired there as the church administrator a couple years ago. And I've become a member of the church since then. And we do have an older congregation, but they are so welcoming and so loving. For me, it was like my second family. And I knew I had found my way home. And the Caring Heart Support Network was founded by myself. And so I saw an email about Embracing the Spirit grant, and I thought, well, I'll try.
Excellent. So how long has the Caring Hearts and Support Network been going?
We rolled out in January. We did start a bit of support back in the end of last year. We had a support group we ran for 6 weeks. Yeah. And but we had things to develop first and to get our ducks in a row. So the rollout was in January.
Okay. And you say that you were the one that founded this.
I did.
Joanne, what was your interest?
Nicole and I go back about a decade doing bereavement at our local hospice. So that's how I knew her. And we've kept in touch all these years. And she contacted me midsummer with this idea, asking if I'd be interested. And I was. Yeah.
Great. Mm-hmm. So the two of you joined forces, and what spurred the beginning of this? What need were you seeing?
So I am the founder of this network. My husband died after a 3-year illness, and I journeyed with him. Thank you. I journeyed with him those 3 years, but he and I had volunteered at our hospice. I think it's like 15 years ago when it first opened. We were both there for 5 years. So the volunteer work we did there, we both loved it. So through my grief journey, I discovered that I needed to do something in honor of my husband and to leave a legacy. And so I decided to go back to what I was passionate about. And my passion is helping those who are dying, living with a life-limiting illness. And because I walk the walk and I know how difficult it is to access things in our community, I feel that I'm equipped to help somebody walk beside them and help them to know what the right questions are to ask your doctor or your nurse or your PSW that comes in every day, and to just be that person that these people can talk to without being connected to them. Like I have nothing invested in them, right? So yeah, excuse me.
I think that's
sorry about that. So our goal is to help those who are walking the walk that I walked with my husband, and Joanne is the lead in grief and bereavement.
So we're really interested in having a continuity of care. So Nicole meets them when the journey starts, when they get that diagnosis, and she can bring me in to meet the family. And then when the unfortunate death happens, then they can just come to me for group or individual support, and we can support them in dealing with the emotions and the aftermath of the death.
That's something that really struck me when I was reading about your initiative, that it it does start even before the
Mhm.
even before the family has to face the unfortunate issue of
Yeah,
their loved one's impending death, is that you start there, and you can be the support for those things like family conferences, and
exactly. Yeah,
filling out the forms, and educating about about the what the death process is, which, when I think back to
exactly.
when my mother died when I was 19, was something that my family certainly could have used,
Exactly.
with all of
Yeah,
the overwhelm going on, not knowing what questions to ask, dealing with so many emotions, not knowing where to
right,
go to get things. And then, as you
right.
said, it's kind of a wraparound service that carries through.
Yeah,
Afterwards, you're already there. People already know you.
Yeah.
What a the carry through must be a great gift to people.
yeah, yeah. It will be, for sure. Because the thing is, even those that we are meeting now, just on a grief journey, they, the response we're getting is that they are so comfortable with us. Both Joanne and I are facilitating the groups. I co-facilitate, but I also participate, and Joanne leads it. So it's a real good mix. And I think our participants are happy to have me there, because I walk the walk and I can share my experience. But going back to being with families who are having to make difficult choices, and sometimes families don't know what the choices are, I can help them to see what they are, right? From a personal level, and not be the doctor kind of thing to say, you know, you need to do this or you need to do that. And so just to have the conversations with the family, and sometimes some families need somebody to just get it started with the right questions, right?
That lived experience is so important.
It is, yeah, yeah.
And the people that have been coming for individual, they've segued into a group when we've had a group become available. And then they're also coming to our monthly Food for Grieving Hearts event, which is really nice, because once the group is done, and if they no longer need individual help, or they don't need it, they can still have that fellowship with the other people at the table. And there's something about eating and preparing food and then sitting together. And we have some questions that we want the focus to be on grief. It's not just, chit chat. So it's a really comfortable space, but a lot of people are making really solid friendships. And everything is all done in the church as well, which brings them
Yes.
to the same location, and they're feeling very comfortable there. And we're starting to see some participation from the people in the church as well, coming out to our events, which is really nice. And yeah, it's lovely.
That's fantastic. Building building a community as well,
Yeah, yeah,
that people can rely on for support
yeah.
going through these.
So
Go ahead.
yeah, Saint David's offers us the space, so, which is nice. And so, and it does bring new people into their doors as well. And we've had a couple people attend church, which is nice to see on a Sunday. You know, I go to church and I see one of my group participants, and I'll say, hi, nice to see you here, right? So, I mean, you never know where you're going to get people attracted to your church, or how, right? And so the word is getting out that St. David's is our sponsor. They appear on all our
marketing
material,
as does Embrace the
Spirit. So yeah, we're proud of what we do. Not everybody can do it. We do have a couple volunteers that we have recruited, because as we go along, I won't be able to handle, everybody that might come our way. So we're particular as to volunteers that we are recruiting. They have to have a background in palliative care or grief and bereavement. And we're lucky enough, Joanne and I, that we know a lot of people in that field.
We've been doing this for well over a decade. So we're, some people are seeking us out, you know, and saying, hey, is there some way I can be a part of this? So it's nice.
That's great. Has anything surprised you from the learnings you've had since you've started this?
The support has been really surprising. Like we've had a few different events. We had an estate planning event. Part of Nicole's mandate that she set forth when she was founding this was that she really wants to educate. And so we approached a local lawyer and local financial advisor and had them come to the church, and we had 96 people come out, which was just an amazing, the minister was absolutely thrilled to see so many people filling those chairs. And but we had a lot of people that we have been supporting, and they came out, and some of them said, we came to support you because we love what you're doing, not necessarily because they needed that education, but just to support us personally. Because we've supported them. So that's a really nice thing. So early in our launch, that loyalty is happening. And a lot of the people that I'm helping, well, one example is a couple I met in the church. They're very active. And I was just waiting for a client at the door and was chit-chatting with them. And they shared that their son had died fairly recently. And then before I knew it, Nicole's saying, hey, their other son would like you to work with him with his grief component. I was like, well, that's really nice. So I think I must have made a good impression that they felt they trusted me enough. So that sort of thing is really nice. That's a nice thing coming out of it.
But going back to the public event that we held for Joanne and I, what was so heartwarming is that 96 people left that evening and they would have a conversation. So 96 people are having a conversation about things, right? And that's all we want to do, is to make people have conversations. Are you ready? You know, is everything ready? Does your family know what your wishes are if something happened, if you were in an accident? And it doesn't matter how old you are, you should always be ready. My husband was 59 when he died. Because I had worked in a funeral home, we did our planning way before he got sick. But it certainly helped at the end that I didn't have to try and figure out what he wanted, because we knew what he wanted, right? And so the thing is, if I talk about death, it's not happening to me. And that's what a lot of people still feel to this day. If I talk about that, I'm going to die. But that's so untrue, right? So we just want to educate our community, educate anybody who comes our way, give people a safe space to express their emotions, their feelings, and to know that they're validated, that whatever your grief is, it's normal, because we're all unique.
It's such an important message. And what you said too about the realization that just talking about death doesn't mean that it's happening to you. We're kind of a society that treats something that's very natural in a very unnatural way, and it seems to me that what you're doing is taking away from that, and yes, and giving people a chance to explore something that they've been trained not to talk about.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Just so important. Yeah. Where do you see this going in maybe 3 years?
We don't know.
We've had such good feedback. I mean, initially when we launched, it was just reaching out to people we knew from previous work. And now people are reaching out to us. They're seeing us in areas and from other people, word of mouth. And we've had a really good connection with the Ontario Health Team, which is we met with, and they're promoting us. So yeah, I think more of the same, and we're working on, for the education part, we'd like to offer day workshops. So on specific things, and Nicole can speak to one that she's developing at the moment.
So it's going to be called Debrief Your Grief. And we're targeting PSWs and nurses who work in palliative care and nursing homes, and especially those who worked very hard during COVID. Because what we've found is a lot of our participants, their deaths occurred during COVID. And that brings a whole other layer of grief. We have some clients that, you know, didn't get to say goodbye. But what about the people who are working with those people, who had to sit by their side, knowing that mom or dad or husband, wife couldn't come in? That's all stuck in their heart. So we want to develop something that gives them a safe place to come and debrief their grief. So we're hard at work trying to complete that and maybe offer it early summer. And as Joanne mentioned, the OHT, the Ontario Health Team, we are connected with them, and we have told their supervisor that we're working on this, and she was quite thrilled, because these people just had to go home and come back to work the next day. So hopefully, you know, we have had chats with our groups about, let's talk about what COVID took away, right? And then some of us have learned things from COVID too. So what did COVID teach you? Well, that life doesn't go forever, right? And some people have changed the way they live their lives because of COVID.
Sounds fascinating. That's it's amazing work that you're doing, and we will put your website and your I don't know if you have social media, but
We do. We're on Facebook.
Okay. We'll put that in the links underneath the description for the video, so that people can get in touch with you if they like, and we will run a blurb about you in our newsletter so that people can learn more about you that way. Is there anything else you'd like to say about what you're doing before we finish today?
Well, I think, you know, for me, I do it in honor and gratitude to my husband. And Brad loved what I did at the hospice, so I know that he's watching and he's proud of what I'm doing for others.
Well, what better reason than to do it?
Thanks.
Anything from you, Joanne? Or?
No, I think that just kind of sums it up. I'm happy to be a part of this with Nicole, and I think our experience, and it just we complement one another, and yeah, it's exciting. It's very exciting to have such good feedback from people, and it's gaining momentum, and it's a lot of work, but it's really rewarding.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with us today, and please come back and update us.
Yeah. We will. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Okay. Thank you so much.